Welcome everyone to OPUS Administration Part 3. Before we go into detail into the course, I'm just going to go through the course prerequisites. So this course assumes you have completed the OPUS Administration Fundamentals ILT. So it means you already understand the OPUS Administration navigation, core concepts like users, networks, links, and apps, and basic configuration tasks. So, during your company's day-to-day operations, you may need to troubleshoot issues with Opus. Sometimes it's difficult to know where to start, and this course will go through some basic areas you can check first. In order to access most of the functions described in the course, you must be a network and apps administrator. For functions specific to application, you must be a manager or a member of the application. So for the on the agenda today, we're going to take a look at a few scenarios. So error scenario one, the user can't access Opus. For scenario two, the application isn't available. Scenario three, there is single sign-on failure. And then lastly, we'll take a look at how to open a support case. This slide here is a mental checklist you should run through before making any configuration changes. First, ask yourself what role the user plays. Their role determines what they should see and what they should not see. Many issues are simply role mismatches. Next, focus on what the error message actually says. Don't rely on the user's interpretation. Exact wording often points directly to the root cause. Then ask at what point in the process the error happened. Did it happen at login, during navigation, or while performing a specific action? This helps narrow the administration area to investigate. If the issue worked previously, identify what's different now. Think of recent changes such as role updates, app enablement, or network configuration changes. Check whether the same action works for the other users. If it does, compare roles, permissions, and network access between users. Finally, pause and ask yourself if you have considered all possible causes before acting. This moment of reflection prevents unnecessary changes and repeat incidents. So let's start with one of the most common ticket administrators receive. A user says, I can't access Opus. At this point, avoid assuming SSO or system outage. In most cases, this is a user configuration issue. The common cause is that the user account exists but is inactive or disabled. This can happen if the account was manually disabled or incorrectly updated during a user management activity. Now that we understand the symptoms and likely causes, let's walk through exactly how an Opus administrator resolves this issue step by step using the administration module. As an administrator, you can begin by searching for the affected user in the system. Once you locate the user's account, verify that the account status is set to active. If the status is not active, update it accordingly and save your changes. After saving, ask the user to log out and then log back in to validate that the update has taken effect and the issue has been resolved. So we're going to take a look at user access issues. So to do this, I'm going to log in to the system with this user ID. And we can see the account is locked and we need to contact your administrator to unlock your account. To resolve this issue, I'll need to log in as the administrator. So just logging in as my administrator's account now. And I'd navigate to administration, which is under the main menu here. I've already got an admin tab open. And then you would go to users and company users. You can filter. I already have the filter applied for this particular user. Click onto the email link. select edit. And as we can see, the status is indeed set to inactive. So we need to change that to active and save. We can see that the user details have been updated. And now if we log back out again and log in as the original user, we can see that he can now successfully log in. So now onto the next scenario, scenario 2, which is the application is not available. This situation occurs when a user reports that an application is missing or only partly available. If an app is missing from the user's view, it usually means that the application is not enabled for the user's network or role. When an app opens with limited features, it often indicates that access exists, but permissions are restricted. Looking at the likely causes, first confirm whether the user is correctly added as a network member. If the user isn't associated with the required network, the application won't appear. Next, we need to review the role assignment. Incorrect or incomplete roles are a common reason users see only limited functionality. To resolve this issue, start by searching for the affected user and confirming the correct account. Next, we want to verify the user is assigned to the required network. If the user isn't part of the network, the application won't be available. Then, check the user's roles for that network. Incorrect or missing roles are the most common reason an app appears missing or limited. After making updates, save the changes and ask the user to log out and log back in again so the access refreshes. For validation, confirm the user can log in successfully and no access errors are reported. So I'm going to demonstrate this and show the resolution, showing that an app opens with limited features and then how to resolve this issue. So firstly, we're going to go in as this user still. And actually, I'm in the screen already, but to navigate to this network, you would go to My Networks from the main menu and then select the desired network, in this case, external manufacturing orchestration, and go. And we can see that indeed this user has restricted access. He can view the business transactions and serialization transactions, but he can't actually create any transactions such as purchase orders. So in order to resolve this issue, I need to log back out again and back into my administration account. And from here, once again, go to the admin menu, which is found under the main menu. I've got the admin tab still open. And you would go to users, this time network members, and filter on the network. I've already got a filter applied. I've already got external manufacturing orchestration, and I've already filtered on that particular user. But if you wish to apply a filter that's not already in place, just simply click on filter and the push panel will appear here. And so what we would need to do is click on the hyperlink, the email hyperlink, and edit. And if we scroll down, we can actually see that he doesn't have the required roles to be able to create any of the transactions. So what we need to do now is to add those roles, and what they're going to be are manufacturing customer expanded and also manufacturing customer standard. And then just make sure you save any changes. So what we want to do now is to validate Gunjay's access. So Let's log out of this account, the administrator's account, and log back in as Gunjay. If, as mentioned, if he's already logged in, um, we would need to ask him to log out and to log back in just to refresh the access. And now we can see that this manufacturing customer menu has appeared with all the necessary transactions, such as purchase orders, invoices, etc. So we've resolved that issue now. Then on to the last error scenario. So this scenario covers situations where users are unable to log in using single sign-on or experience an account lockout. When you see these symptoms, the first thing to determine is whether the issue is affecting multiple users or a small group. Widespread impact usually points to policy or configuration behavior rather than a one-off user error. The most common causes are failed login attempts that trigger account lockout and expired credentials based on company password policies. For this resolution, so what you would need to do is begin by checking whether user accounts are in a locked state. And then account locks typically occur after repeated failed authentication attempts and can prevent successful SSO login. If accounts are locked or passwords have expired, reset the password if required and ensure users are informed before retrying. After corrective actions, move to validation and confirm that users can log in successfully using single sign-on and that no additional account lockout or authentication errors occur. So I'm going to show you how to resolve this issue with a single sign-on failure. And once again, I need to log in to my general administrator's account. And what I'll need to do is go to administration and users and company users. And we find the user. We just need to make sure that this user is active. We can see it's active. And then if we click on the hyperlink in the login information section, make sure well, you've got the account state here. We've got it to unlocked. So you want to make sure that that's unlocked and not showing as locked. And then to reset the password, you go back to company users, highlight the row, and then select reset. And then you'll be prompted to reset the password and then apply. The user will receive an email to reset the password. And after password reset, Gunjay will then be able to log back in again. So that's the resolution to the last error scenario. Now I'm going to show you how to open a support case. So now that you've attempted to troubleshoot the issue as an administrator, there may be situations where the issue can't be resolved at your level. And so what you would need to do is you may need to raise a support case with TraceLink. So next we'll review the steps to open a support case. So in OPUS, in the header bar, select the support icon as highlighted. And if your company has access to the customer success portal, this opens your company's portal where you can log in and create or manage support cases. If you don't have access to the customer success portal, the support icon takes you to the TraceSync Global Support request page where you can submit a support request form. And this functions as opening a support case. And you scroll down to open a support case, as shown here. To help us start researching the issue you reported, please provide the details within the description field of the support request form. So the application, for example, company administration, mint, etc. The impact of this issue on your business operations, whether this is a new or recurring issue. Duplication steps. What are the detailed step-by-step instructions you perform to cause the issue to occur? Any additional information you believe is relevant to help us work with you to resolve or answer questions related to this case. So that brings us to the end of part 3 of OPUS administration, looking at the 3 error scenarios with admin. So we looked at scenario 1, user cannot access OPUS. Scenario 2, the application isn't available. And scenario 3, single sign-on failure. And lastly, we took a look at how to open a support case. Thank you for your time watching this session today. If you do have any follow-up questions, please feel free to email tracinguniversity@tracing.com.